Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram. Today happens to be the Samadhi day of Pujya Swami Shuddhananda. Mentally we bring his form before us, prostrate before him and touch his feet and pray to him, who is now in the form of remembrance in our heart, to bless us with that simple and humble nature of Swamiji, ready to serve attitude of the Swamiji, and the quality, care and concern for everybody. These are the things which, and also of course, every day when we were with him, especially in the night before we take leave of Swamiji, there will be something by which we all have laughter. There have been many instances that come up before our mind as a spiritual sadhaka. What should be our mental framework when attending to various seva activities? Whenever the tapal comes, on those days, this internet or courier service was not there. Whenever a letter is addressed to a devotee in ashram, he will not ask anybody to go and give. He will personally go and give to the person. That is his nature. It is not that, suppose when we say, why should you do that, he cannot but. He will be typing out some letters. Immediately somebody may ask us some certificate or something like that. So he will be in the first row. Immediately we come there and ask, after this, will you... No, not after this. He will immediately take the entire letter with the carbon paper, keep it aside, and then type out what we need, and then give to us, and then he will start. Every time we used to think that ready to serve attitude, not. There have been many instances. The simple and humble way of dealing and the quality, care and concern for others, especially people who come from Hyderabad or any place when they have to catch the Parshuram. Parshuram on those days were coming at 5:30 or 5:45, something like that. So he will take the tea or coffee and glasses to their room, and if they are not up, you should see his restlessness. So we used to say, they are the people to go, why should you become? They are not having that, so I have to do it. Because they will miss the train. That is the important. They will miss the train. So like that, the care and concern, we all pray to him. We are far away from those traits. So kindly bless us whenever we forget or we fail or we go off the track. Pull us up and put us on the rails. With these words, we again mentally prostrate before him and seek his blessings. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Before answering one email, we thought we would share some thoughts on IQG by Puja Mataji. It might be very interesting. Actually, when we started closely associating with ashram, we have heard this through many devotees, that Mataji always insists for reading it 11 times, 11 days. 11 days, one. So 11, by the time we complete, we never knew what Mataji meant. Never we asked also. Never we followed also. Now when we go through with the Divine Mother, whatever Mataji has spoken about reading of this in quest of God for 11 times in 11 days, it is becoming clearer and clearer to us. We will just read some portions, not all. Puja Mataji called Darshan Singh and Shabai and told them to enlist 11 persons who were willing to read In Quest of God daily for 11 days, completing the entire book each day. The list was quickly made up. Mataji asked the concerned devotees to do 14 rounds of the Home Mandir from the outside. Because Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram has got 14. No? So 14 rounds of the Home Mandir from the outside after completing each day's reading. Mataji first asked the devotees who had enlisted themselves for the reading and pradakshina to place their copies of In Quest of God on the Samadhi of beloved Papa and prayed to him to bless their efforts in this direction and to grant them realization, and only then to start their reading. Later in the afternoon, Mataji elaborated, the idea came to me from Papa all of a sudden when Darshan was prostrating and I asked him if he was ready to complete the reading of In Quest of God daily for 11 days, when he agreed. Then I saw Shabai enter the room. I told him also, and then asked him to enroll in all 11 persons for this purpose. Today is Purnima and Holi. Holi signifies killing of Kamadeva, who represents our desires. So if you start reading In Quest of God today with a prayer to Papa to burn all your kama or desires and thereby your Deha Buddhi as well, and if you pray to Papa with sincere devotion, Papa is bound to grant your prayer. So before we start, we have been asked to do 14 rounds of Papa's Homa Mandir. On those days, only Homa Mandir was there. And then place the book on the holy Paduka of Papa there. And then pray from the bottom of the heart. You have prompted us to read this. The purpose of reading is to go deeper and deeper into it. Ultimately, it should pave the way for removing all the desires and the me and mine, and finally make me aware of your presence within. Next day, Mataji called yesterday's events of her, asking 11 inmates of the ashram to read In Quest of God daily for 11 days, and cited the case of 3 ashramites who failed to complete the stipulated reading yesterday. Mataji, if you don't evince the same enthusiasm, see now we feel, Mataji's physical absence. Mataji's physical, if Mataji had been alive and if we were prompted to take up this in-depth study, she would have definitely at every moment, watching us, watching our progress, watching us the way in which we do, and reminding us of the purpose for which the reading is undertaken. Today we all miss that when we read this. If you don't evince the same enthusiasm in reading In Quest of God as I did in asking you to do it, you will only lose everything. After all, what was my purpose in asking you to all read? Only that Papa should reveal himself in your heart. That is the reason why you are all here in the first place. If you do not go by my wishes, you will find it difficult to continue here. I wish I had shown years ago the same anxiety and enthusiasm as I am showing now to go after you and to realize Papa. We have to realize Papa as the word Prapancha and as the truth, which means as everything and beyond everything. Not only the inward indwelling reality, but also the all-pervading reality. It may be academic for us now, a theory for us now, but this is how Mataji sows the seed in our heart. from a mere book. In Quest of God is a book. We treat it as a book initially. We go to the bookstore, we see the book, we see it as a book. And when we take it up, we slowly, gradually realize, especially when, on those days, anything we do, we all go and sit in Mataji's room. And Mataji will immediately ask, what is that book you are carrying? Then she will make some mention about the importance of the book and what should be our mental background while reading the book. So then slowly from the book level to a little more, a book that guides our spiritual journey. And as we read it, and suppose we get some doubt and we start sharing with others or Swamiji or Mataji, then again we try to go unknowingly to its depth. Then slowly we find it is neither a book nor a book for guidance. It is for everyday life practice. Because through so many anecdotes, they have brought out, Papa has brought out what should be the background, how we should react to events and individuals. Ram made Papa to bring it out in a beautiful way, and by the time we complete this, we know it should always be there with us. It has moved from the book level to something which is very much it has to do with our very life, everyday's life. This is what exactly Mataji wanted. Not to treat it as a book, not to treat it merely as a guide, but to treat it as a part of our own life. Mataji has been evincing a keen interest in the progress made by the volunteer devotees in reading In Quest of God daily. Today she asked those present how much time each one took to finishing the reading. Mataji, while reading, do you give full attention to what you have read or just skip through it? And one devotee said, no Mataji, I find as days go by, Initially probably we would have skipped. That I take more and more time. Papa's language in Quest of God is so sweet, and at places I feel like lingering over the lines, tasting it again and again like a sweet. Mataji was very happy. That is how it should be. That is why I ask you to all read In Quest of God in order to imbibe that sweetness. Imbibe that sweetness. Now from the book level, there is a special reason for Papa making me ask you to read In Quest of God daily for 11 days. It is intended to take you within. You may not attain Papa within you on the 11th reading, but you will at least have started going within. It is like entering the ashram gates. Once you are within the gates, you have nothing to fear. Likewise, once you turn your gaze within, you have nothing to worry. After completing In Quest of God, I want you to take up the next book, At the Feet of God, and read it also 11 times. So slowly, you all be remembering that Papa used the first word meditation and then chanted. Even when he took to sannyas, the first one was consecrated to meditation and service of Ram. So that means inward journey, inward journey, inward journey. So here Mataji says, at least you will have started to go within. So In Quest of God, the first book of Papa itself is itself meant for going within. Not at the outer level, superficial level we read, and 11 days we say, okay, we have done it. Let us see what Mataji says on another occasion. One of the devotees taking part in the reading of In Quest of God for 11 days told Mataji that after reading in the book for so many days, he now felt like giving up chilies and salt and salted food and sought Mataji's advice and blessings. Exactly, these are something, we are missing, because this sort of guidance has not come to us. Mataji with a smile Papa's blessings are already there on you always. As you increase your Ramnam, Papa who is seated within you will give you the inspiration to give up chilies and salt, and also the strength of mind to adhere to your vow. But as Papa had taught me, whatever vow we undertake, it should not bind us down, should not become a chain of bondage. We are here to give up all bonds and ties, and we should not exchange one bondage for another. Very practical, very practical. All vows are good provided we follow them in the carefree spirit of a child. We must adopt those vows as inspired by Papa and break them or give them up whenever Papa prompts us to do so from within. If we stick to a vow as a hard and fast rule, then it would become stifling as a noose round the neck. After all, there may be occasions when you may be served with salted food or food with chilies by your hostess. If you refuse the same and insist on saltless food, you will only be causing inconvenience to the poor hostess. So do not be a slave to any rule or regulation, as your purpose on earth is to rise above all bonds, is rise above all rules, regulations, and reach out to Papa. So she is also clearing, so many words about what the name Papa stands for. When you are engaged in reading In Quest of God, you are busy. When you are busy at other work, did your mind not dwell on what you had read in Quest of God? It's another very notable point. You will also find as you go on reading In Quest of God that you are not only dwelling on its contents while doing any work with your hands, but Ramnam also will be on your lips. Whatever work you are doing in this state will be considered by you as his service. Thus, once you have dedicated yourself to him in all the three ways, Dhyan, Smaran, Seva, it will not take you long to enter Nirguna Brahman. Underline the word Nirguna Brahman. Again, she is reminding it is not to be treated as a book. As we keep on reading, Mataji expects us to become a part of our thinking. Just like so many norms we have gained, while handling men and matters. If somebody comes, we will get up and welcome him, offer him a seat. Like that, there are so many norms are there, right from morning till evening. When we brush our teeth and take the paste, do we not keep it in the same place? There are certain norms followed by us. So Mataji ultimately wanted us to extract the contents, the theme of In Quest of God, and to carry it along with all our activities in our daily life. The extracted contents is nothing but submission to the higher will, submission of everything to his will. Though we need not tom-tom, she wants everyone. That is the real purpose. That is the sweetness. Mataji, today is the 9th day of your reading of In Quest of God, isn't it? I wanted you all to read 11 times so that your mind would turn within to Nirguna Brahman. Another salient point. Every chapter Papa addresses Ram, and in the first article before the first chapter starts, he says who is Ram, the subtle and mysterious power. He is birthless and deathless, so he has no form. So the Nirguna aspect. See now, Mataji wanted every one of us to read 11 times so that the Nirguna Tattva is getting stamped on our heart. It will be ever with us. In Saguna, we will be enthused, we will be excited, we will be reveling on the plane only when we see the form. But in the case of Nirguna Tattva, when it is there inside our heart, it will ever be there, not coming and going. Only then we can derive the fullest benefit of the reading. 11 stands for the transcendental truth. If you find it difficult to read Papa's book 11 times, you may read it 9 times, but 9 does not stand for Nirguna Brahman. It stands for saints and Mahatmas like the Navayogis. By asking you all to read In Quest of God 11 times, I had hoped that you would be fired by a keen desire and enthusiasm to realize Papa. But so far, I do not see any signs at all. Sundara Mama, I hope Papa blesses me with realization in this life itself. Again, yesterday the 11 devotees completed their 11 days of reading of In Quest of God as enjoined on them by Mataji. In the beginning, Mataji had advised that after completing In Quest of God, the 11 devotees should take up Papa's book, next book, namely At the Feet of God, and thus continue until they had completed the whole series of beloved Papa's books. Mataji has named 33 books. So every book Mataji wanted us to view it like this, Initially as a book, words of Papa printed in a book, and then slowly we try to assimilate, absorb, become one with it. It gives us some guidance when we handle things, and then finally it becomes a part of our, it's something like a manual. When we buy a machinery, we are given a manual how to operate whenever something goes wrong, how to set it right. All those things are in detail given in the manual with photos. Similarly, In Quest of God is a manual, and when God makes us to deal with men and matters outside, many a time it might be from the individual level, though our ideal is to raise ourselves to a higher level. So at that time, we take out from this manual the spanner and other tools and then look what Papa has, how he has dealt with. How he has dealt with a situation similar to this. To what extent I can translate them, actualize them in my very life. Now the question came up as to when the devotees should take up at the feet. I have lost all enthusiasm in asking you all to read. Some of you have not been as enthusiastic throughout the 11 days of reading In Quest of God. These are all practical problems, Initially enthusiasm will be there, and then slowly, the enthusiasm will get punctured. And just because we have made a resolve, we may be completing it. We all remember, we have done it here in this veranda 11 times. We were prompted, and then we started morning 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock we used to sit, remember? And 7 or 8 o'clock we will be able to finish it. But it was one from, like that, Never we slow down, never we apply our mind. Mataji said 11 times, we did not. So that's why, she was very much pained. Some of you have not been enthusiastic throughout the 11 days of reading In Quest of God as you were at the start. That is also Papa's will. He is seated in your heart. He will reveal himself to you as and when he wills. My own enthusiasm in asking you all to read each of Papa's books 11 times has evaporated. If you still want to do it, you may continue. It is entirely up to you. I am no longer in the picture. I was sharing with Shraddha and Chandranandaji. Exactly, we remember our mothers. When we were children, she may ask us to do something, we may not do it perfectly, and finally she will get frustrated. Whatever you feel like, you do it, and she will go back. But after some time, she will check up whether we are doing it properly. Similarly, Mataji, because she was a mother, that is the difference between Mataji and other spiritual preceptors. Even after scaling the heights, she will come down to our level, and like an earthly mother, she will act. When we read these words, still as if she is there before us and telling this. You may continue if you want to do. It is entirely up to you. I am no longer in the picture. Again, it is Papa's Shakti which makes his book so irresistible that you cannot lose a single moment, but needs must be reading the book. With the first book, In Quest of God, you traveled all over with Papa. And now with this, at the feet of God, you are coming face to face with Papa's Shakti, which is gripping you so much that you wish to devote all your available time to reading this book. How she introduces, so that, what should be the background while reading it. In the evening, Shabai referred to Birod Papa's heart pourings. We have read this, but again, while staying in the Kadri caves, which formed a separate chapter titled In the Cave, at the end of In Quest of God, Shabai asked Mataji why in some places Papa appeared exuberant and spoke of nearness of God and the bliss of his presence, while in some other places Papa's outpouring seemed to be of despair when he addressed himself in scathing terms. Mataji, that is the phase of all sadhakas pass through. When they become conscious of God in them and around them, they are exuberant. There are also times when that consciousness is temporarily lost and they become while in that state. So again and again we are now getting some more clarity. But for this in-depth study, he would not have prompted us to search all these with the Divine Mother. We would have read it, but it would not have got registered in our mind. So now, when he has prompted us to take up this in-depth study of In Quest of God throughout this centenary year, he starts revealing one by one, the various aspects connected with this in-depth study. So that means Papa is not just giving us a thought, a prompting. He is meticulously watching. Every now and then he gives so many incentives for us, so many inputs for us, so that we will be able to take up this effectively. Because there are no celebrations during the centenary, excepting the launching and probably now at the closure. Rest of the period, it is an intense study only. Param Pujya Padmanabhan Swami Maharaj was telling us, this is a wonderful prompting you have got. Because normally we have a function, we call so many people, and euphoria will be there for a few hours and then gets evaporated. After that, we are back to square one. But here he has prompted you to take up a 1 year program. Even if I missed on some days, I am again getting connected to the same program throughout the day. And what is there to read 37 chapters again and again and again? No. Every time when we read, he will reveal what has not been so far brought out. In the first go, we may get some. Second go, we may get some. Third go, we may get some. Like that. It is never the same. Connecting up so many. Yes.
You feel his presence very frequently nowadays because
he's feeling the presence very frequently
nowadays. This is what is expected of us. Nowadays, even if we don't go through the moment, we think about in quest of God, no?
Yes, yes, sir.
Something will stand out in our memory. Not necessarily be the 37 chapters. Some words, the way in which he has handled the various episodes, and something about the word meditation, something about the word Ram. Now we have to fan it, no? To keep it aflame. Because we have not read this before 27th, we will definitely do that. At the closing session before that, all of us will go, place the book there, and if anybody wants it, if there is an urge from within, we will be writing it in the vision, that all of us can also take up 11 times reading on the lines Mataji had suggested. Probably now when we read, it will not be a superficial reading, because we can start noting down what all other points are between the lines, between the lines. Lines we may be going, but between the lines we have been able to go to some extent. Those things we can make a note down, and that will form the major part of our sadhana. Let us see how it gets shaped. We have received an email the first and foremost problem identified is, am I in quest of God? No? Each one has to ask this question. When children come here, we used to ask them at the time of leaving, giving prasad, what do you want to become? Some of them will have some idea. I want to become an IAS officer. Somebody will say, I would like to be a police officer or something like that, no? A scientist. Or some profession. They are still in the student level. But by asking this question, they are trying to revel. It must have stuck to them somewhere. Or it might be an idea that is coming at that time. And that might be instrumental in taking them further. Similarly, whether I am in quest of God or not, you mean the sincerity or the intensity may not be there. Doesn't matter. But when we keep on asking, when we have accepted him as our spiritual preceptor, and he keeps on harping this, you don't have to leave anything. You can be there wherever God has placed you. But the only thing is, try to bring this dimension. That it is He who is seated within you, is guiding you through all your thoughts, words and deeds. So, like that, then probably we would not have understood even the word in quest of God. Because as far as we know, as far as we have understood now, Papa was already there. To him it was not an inquest of God. Only thing is, when he replied to the ticket railway inspector, we can take it that not only God is in the place where we live in, God is also there everywhere. To have that experience, God took him out. Because when he was asked, what is that book? When he was asked, when you say God is everywhere, He is there at this moment, then why should you keep on going? Immediately he says, they say God is everywhere, who says the inspector. Then where is the fun of your knocking about in search of him, while he is at the very place from which you started on this quest, as you say? Right, brother, replied Papa. God is everywhere, but he wants to have this fact actually proved by going to all places and realizing his presence everywhere. So Papa's inquest of God, we can take it to that. The purpose was to take him out. God is everywhere, that he has got stabilized. But he wants to have this fact actually proved by going to all places and realizing his presence everywhere. Then again he asked, well then, if you are discovering God wherever you go, you must be seeing him here on the spot where you stand. Certainly, brother, rejoined Ramdas, he is here at the very place where we stand. Can you tell me where he is? Asked the inspector. Behold, he is here standing in front of me, exclaimed. Where? Cried the inspector. Here, pointed out Ramdas, smiling and patted on the broad chest of the inspector himself. In the tall figure standing in front, that is in yourself, Ramdas clearly sees God who is everywhere. For a time, the inspector looked confused. Then he broke into a hearty fit of laughter. Opening the door of the compartment from which he had asked the sadhus to get down, he requested them to get in again, and they did so, followed by him. He sat in the train with the sadhus for some time. I cannot disturb you, friends. I wish you all success in your quest of God. With these words, he left. See, now, the moment we think, he connects up, no? So, let us not bother technically whether we have understood the word in quest of God. We are all in quest of God only. Otherwise, we will not be attending these 150 days. Now it is 150 days, In the past 5 months, we have been here, sitting and hearing for 1 hour. Many of you might have also attended the launching session. And every week, many must be seeing the video also. So we are, whether we know it or not. Many things we don't know, no? We are breathing. We don't know that. We don't feel that we are breathing. It is automatic. Similarly, we are in quest of God. Otherwise, our priority would have been something else. Kindly think about it. It is not merely for replying. Otherwise, we will not be holding on to this. In somebody's language, it will be boring on the same topic again and again and again and again. All these 150 days, did we have any other topic? Either to go through the same chapter, bringing out different, and nobody said enough is enough, So there is a tacit acceptance. That we are all in search. We are all in search of God. We are all in quest of God. I used to find it very lofty and not applicable. With your constant inning, you have hammered. Okay. I have accepted this only recently. I have yet to apply to every minutest events, activities that I am being made to go through. Sometimes some heated discussions occur only to realize that it was all his play. Unfortunately, that does not occur in the beginning. So all understanding is only post facto. And naturally, initially all these things will be like that only. When we go to the school, when we hear the lectures, the text taken by the teacher, and when he gives us homework to get the theme registered in our mind, we do it as because the teacher has asked us to do, we are doing it, no? At that time, we have no such idea that assimilation or absorption. And this every day what he says must be grounded properly, then only the next day's topic can be built up. So it need not, the moment we come to this ashram, we don't hear any lecture here. What do we hear? Ramnam. We go and sit in the bhajan hall for programs. And when the 45-minute Ramnam is going on, even if we are new people, automatically we sit and hear, and there is an inexplicable joy. We may not know anything of it. Initially we may think, oh, that is the discipline that is going on. Suppose we go to a temple, we find puja, so many disciplines are going on, So we attend, we come back. Similarly, it may be like that. Oh, here, no, Ramnam chanting. Then later on only we try to slowly understand. Depending upon our receptivity, we will find on that day in Satsang, Mataji or Swamiji, or they take up that subject. Or suppose we have been kindled, if our sattvic level has slightly gone up, we might be receptive, and then we may ask this question. I find some inexplicable joy while chanting, but the moment it is stopped, everything gets stopped. I am back to square one. So what is it that is intended? So we ask them, or we get the reply unasked. On that particular day, either we happen to go through the text, we happen to go through somebody sharing, we happen to go hear Mataji or Swamiji sharing some thoughts about it. Slowly we don't know that we are entering into it in a deeper level, but slowly we have been led. So let us not, understanding is only post facto. It might be. Initially it will be like that. Then we realize, oh, that is why they asked us to do. Oh, that is why they asked us to understand. Because as we said yesterday, the arati and prayer, everything is in Marathi. So none of us have any access toward that language. But we are simply carried away by the tune, by the spiritual fervor, the devotional fervor it can be. Something is there. We feel happy. We never knew that Prabhu Vishwanatha stands for universal prayer. We thought that is also a prayer, that's all. But later on when we started knowing, many of you might remember, senior devotees might remember, sometime during 80s, a universal prayer was printed on a fairly large size. So when we come here, when we go to the bookstall, what is the new latest one? Then they said this is there. So we got 5 or 10 copies. Then we go through it again and again intensely. Next time when we come back, we say, yes, this is also said prior to our Arati, O Lord of the Universe. And then afterwards, one prayer comes. And then only we came to know that Prabhu Vishwanatha is the Marathi translation of universal prayer. Then we immediately went to Swamiji and said, we don't know Marathi. We never knew that this was that. Swamiji, why not we translate? Many devotees used to ask this question to us, especially people who are coming from abroad. They said, we cannot follow anything. What does it mean? So initially for Western devotees. Then we knew, we ourselves don't know. Then Anandashram took all the pains to request our Gita Prakash, in Guru Kripa, everything was taped. Then the entire thing has to be typed out, There was no computer on those days. And then transliteration and then translation, all those things were. Then we came to know that whatever we do in the morning session, everything is related to this, and in which Prabhu Vishwanatha is nothing but the translation of universal prayer. So it doesn't matter. All these things we are repeating again and again, because when we were something was welling up, when we heard Prabhu Vishwanatha in that melodious tune. We cannot explain that, because we will not get up and go, we don't understand. We sit there, we enjoy. There is an unknown, unexpressed devotional fervor along with it, with the harmonium and the person who chants it. So let us not bother about all these matters. The only thing I have to tell is Satsang only. But I am now aware that your consistent chiseling will slowly knock off the extra unwanted pieces of egoistic tendencies and make me a pure form. Okay. So everything is becoming clearer and clearer, Even you take up this, how many years we have been associating. Have we taken up this inquest of God seriously as we now do it? So we don't have to bother about it. Now only the time has come. He now knows. If you take it up 10 years back, probably you would not have understood. We told you, in this building, we had this 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Everybody will religiously come. The whole area will be full. Not that they just want to spend some time. They really hear. Mataji said, we hear. It had some impact, Not deep impact, agreed, but some impact. So similarly, whenever he makes us to read so many things on in quest of God, at that time we would not have. With the Divine Mother, these portions were typed out by us also, It was run, the original script was running to 1,000 pages. Shuddhanandaji used to type. Then one day he asked us to type because there were corrections, and then he gave a big file. And at that is, we were typing. Then only at that time, Dr. M.R. Nambiar bought the first computer in Kanhangad, and he was making a mention about it. Then we told him, you please bring it here before taking it to your hospital. We don't know what the computer can do. Then the computer was brought. Then the computer-friendly person was here. Then we started typing out in word star on those days. First book was this one, with the Divine Mother. But many portions we have covered. But have we applied our mind on this? No. But today now we remember. When we started coming here almost on a permanent basis from 89, the first task Swamiji gave us was to bring out Mataji's letters to Papa in one file. So we go through from the old vision, put a tag, and then start typing out, the office. And all those things were typed out and then indexed and put it in a file. We did not know why Swamiji was asking. On those days, every day after Arati, we used to accompany Puja Swamiji to Mataji's room, where Swamiji will take the writing pad and start writing. We never asked what it was. So after we gave the file, Swamiji marked certain things, and when the time came for us to type out the manuscript, then only we came to know he was culling out so many letters from this and reproducing it. Okay, that is from the book level. Then we came to know, Swamiji gave us a wonderful opportunity of knowing about Puja Mataji in depth. The relationship she had with Papa, just like Papa and Ram. Even after Papa dropping the body, to her, Papa never dropped the body. Because Papa and Ram are one. So then all those, she was addressing Papa, every now and then. After 1963 also, whenever anything she wanted to share, she used, whether it's a tiny matter or a big matter, she will write a letter, and that was published in Vision. So it gave us an insight of Mataji's, the depth of Mataji's heights. So like that, we need not now bother. At the time of typing, we did not ask. Then later on we came to know it was all prearranged by him to have an access towards all these things. So similarly, we have to be doubly rest assured. We should feel doubly rest assured that Papa is guiding us. That is why he has given all these promptings to us. And today, for example, these portions, when we started trying to dig up from what all Mataji had said, amazing. This 14 times we should do the pradakshina, place the book, and pray. I am not doing it for reading session. I am not doing it for as a part of a ritual. I am not doing it as a part of an outward exercise. It is purely an internal exercise. When she said the Nirguna Tattva, we never understood all those things, So that means at the right time, whatever is needed, Papa is providing us. in the language in which we can understand now. Previously, we would not have had any idea. Having taken up this in-depth study, we know it contains nothing but Nirguna Tattva. Every chapter he talks to him, Ram. So that Nirguna aspect, it is being stamped on every chapter when we complete. It is stamped again and again and again and again. But we did not know that. When Mataji said it is Nirguna Tattva, then, it will not take you long to enter into Nirguna Brahman. And she also says, let us not jump into the conclusion on the 11th or immediately after the Swadhyaya centenary year ends on 27th December 2022. We would have reached that stage. She says here, it is intended to take you within. You may not attain Papa within you on the 11th reading, but you will at least have started going within. This is very important. It is like entering the ashram gates. Once you are within the gates, you have nothing to fear. Likewise, once you turn your gaze within, you have nothing to worry. Anything else anybody would like to share? After hearing Mataji's, all have already gone within, no? That is why no sound comes. We are trying. Good. So
yesterday, Mataji's life in the cassette, very nice day. Go through nearly 1 hour and more. Mataji's life.
Mataji's
life
history.
We didn't know that because we were not born at that time. We were born in the sense, with this particular idea of going deep within. And how Papa has prompted Mataji, that's also very nice. Right from the start of the ashram, those days, simply superb.
Anything else?
In quest of God, Ram comes 396 times, it seems. Sabine told.
Not in the outpouring.
Except outpouring. All the 37 chapters, Ram comes 396 times.
First chapter to 37th chapter.
Not first article. That you have not taken.
Not me, Swamiji, that's Sabine. Sabine Maxson.
Maxwell.
Sabine Maxson. Not Maxwell. Sabine Maxson.
I don't know. Okay. No, the thing is, now one more revelation. In Quest of God, nearly 400, 397, okay. 400 times Papa makes a mention about Ram, 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 Ram. That is why Mataji now says, when you read it intensely, when you are involved in your various family life, professional life, social life activities, the Ramnam chanting would also go along with it, because 11 times when you repeat it, that means one day we are repeating 400 times Ram. This Ramnam, the word Ram, is linked with the common run of life. When we chant Ramnam, we are away from our common run of life. It is exclusively during that particular period. But when we take up reading In Quest of God, it is very much with the common run of life. And similarly, when we are involved in our family life or professional life, and whenever we get time, automatically the impact will be that we will be Rama. Automatically it will come, it will become a part of it. That is the measuring rod probably we can apply. Whether we have been able to read it intensely, whether we have been able to knowingly read, whether there was a conscious or unconscious effort on our part to assimilate or absorb something of it, that will be known when this Ram comes to us. It is really revealing. Today morning also we were thinking, one day we should close the door and start, nobody should disturb, then counting it. Today morning. Because Ram, how many times he has mentioned Ram? Which is a very important point. Because by going deep into this word itself, first of all, Ram stands for what? He keeps on hammering. Second thing is, it is very much, it is not disconnected with our routine life, our daily life. That is how In Quest of God teaches us that. So even for joke, it will come, Ram. Or even when we are not talking or we are walking or somewhere, under some pretext, this word will come to us. If we keep on reading it. That itself is a great plus point, gain. Because now, previously when we were repeating Ram, we were not aware what that Ram. But the first article we started applying very intensely. And then Ram stands for this, a subtle and mysterious power, birthless and deathless, who is in us, who is everywhere, who is all in all. So many words will come, So this Ram, previously when we were chanting the Ram, probably we were not becoming aware of it. Now slowly the sweetness we will start recognizing the sweetness.
Swamiji?
It's a wonderful revelation, nearly 400 times. Yes?
Yesterday you were saying about the confusion, our confusion between Papa and Ram.
Huh?
You had our confusion
between
confusion was there.
We could not understand, clarity was not there about Ram.
Correct. Because whenever those who had the occasion to meet Mataji, they will know Mataji would like, just now Sudhi said 400 times, like that, suppose we start counting from morning till evening, how many times Mataji would have repeated the word Papa? Innumerable.
Also, Swamiji, you had told us to, in the heart pouring, some 3 years before you told us to replace Ram with Papa and Ramdas with our own name. Maybe that could help and that could make us understand, give us a clarity.
On some part, it will give us the assurance that he is taking care. Suppose the ego somehow raises his head, immediately he will give a blow. When you say, oh Ramdas, you are nothing. Oh Muktananda, you are nothing. When I read that, many areas like that, we immediately, oh Ram, destroy Ramdas's desires, suppose we say Muktananda's desires, crush them out of him, immediately we become aware of what is inside us. Purify the mind of the slave. And at the same time assuring, oh Ramdas, you are in Ram, out of him. Some assurance. You are everywhere along with him. So like that, when we devise so many methods by which inquest of God becomes a part of our life, part of our thinking process. He is taking us and he is providing us. Every day, how he takes us forward is something unimaginable. So we can only say deeply, 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 deeply grateful to you for touching and kindling so many dimensions which were not known to us hitherto. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om